My dog's okay. Well, that was. Okay. All right, you're all set. Let me share this again. All righty. We're all set. You're alive. Okay. All right, so to kick it off, today is National Voter Registration Day. So happy National Voter Registration Day, everybody. If you aren't already registered, we have these links here. I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to check them out. We have the register and like update link, and then we also have our vote by mail link if you need to get your mail ballot requested. The register and update link is it's like nationwide. So even if you're not registered here in Florida, although we would of course encourage you to switch your registration or update it. Even if you're not, if you want to register back in your home state, you can use that same link. I'm gonna have Gabby also send it in the chat in case the QR code is acting funny, but you can also get that information in the chat. And yeah, so I'm gonna give everyone a few minutes to register. Did anybody do any phone banking or anything like that today to get people registered? Yeah, I know Zoe and I did some this morning. She's about to join. Maybe she'll tell you some of her stories. Awesome. Yeah, okay. So does anybody need me to hold back for a few minutes? You can get that? All good? Okay, awesome. So yeah, you can send this link. Feel free to share this link if you have any friends or anything that need to update or register. That link is like totally open to the public, so you can definitely send it. But yeah, so please get your friends registered. If you need like any contacts like to volunteer to get students or even just our Orlando community in general registered, definitely reach out to us. We have so many opportunities available for volunteering. So yeah, happy National Voter Registration Day, everybody. Okay, so here we have a couple upcoming events and also some internship opportunities. We have tomorrow at 5 p.m. We're collaborating with March for Our Lives to host a protest downtown in front of Senator Rubio's office and hopefully also in front of Senator Scott's office. Their offices are fairly close together, but to protest Trump's like bringing in a new Supreme Court justice to fill Justice Ginsburg's seat after her passing. So obviously, for anybody that doesn't know, that is like a Senate confirmation that's required to get a new judge put into place. So that is why we'll be protesting in front of Senator Rubio's office. So it'd be really great for y'all to come down to that. It's downtown. If anybody like wants to go and needs a ride, definitely reach out to us. You can put it in the chat or you can DM us on Instagram or email us or whatever. We can definitely get you a ride down there if that's like, we don't want that to be a barrier for anybody. Also coming up this weekend, FCD, which is Florida College Democrats, which is like what we're under on UCS campus, is having their fall convention. They weren't able to have spring convention because of COVID, so they're doing it in fall instead. This is the link to sign up. I can also send it. I'll send it in the chat a little bit later. But yeah, their tickets are $750 and that covers the entire weekend. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They're having all kinds of different panels. And then on Saturday night is like the big like gala where they're gonna have like some elected officials and other folks come speak. So I would definitely encourage you all to go to that if you have any questions. It's all virtual. But if you have any questions or even if it's a great opportunity, if you're like looking to get more involved in FCD, so definitely hope to see you all there. So that is that's this weekend. We still have our collaboration with Pride Student Association coming up. We've gotten Carlos Gambo-Smith and now Anna Escamani to confirm to come to that. So we're super excited about that. That'll be in later in October. Dylan, you want to handle the rest of these?
Sure. Okay. So we have a couple other events that are going on. The first one is going to be this upcoming Sunday, which is going to be a watch party of the documentary John Lewis Trouble. It's a CNN film, so it's being shown on CNN, but it's kind of hard to find because CNN doesn't really like to put it on anything. I think it's only on like Amazon Prime or something like that. but this one will be live, and that's going to be at 9 p.m. So we encourage you guys to come out if you want to watch it. I've heard it's pretty good. And then next Tuesday is the big one. It's going to be the first presidential debate of 2020. Woot woot. And that's going to be on the 29th at 9. And we'll be hosting a watch party for that. So we encourage you guys to come out, and then we're definitely going to be spreading awareness of it and trying to get as many people to come out as possible, because I know every single person, regardless of who you like and who you dislike, is just to see how that first one goes. So that should be very entertaining. And then the last thing is going to be a Knights for Joe Women's Caucus event that we're putting on. It's going to be October 1st. So that's going to be Thursday of next week. And that's going to be at 6. And what we're going to be talking about is both the impact of the courts in regards to RBG's passing and women's rights in general. We're actually planning on splitting this into 2 separate events. So this first one, when I refer to women's rights, is going to talk about things like the Violence Against Women's Act, the Equal Rights Amendment, equal pay. And then we want to dedicate a separate event to women's reproductive rights. And that's an event that I'll be reaching out to other people, including the Planned Parenthood Generation Action and our own LGBTQ plus caucus to do an event on that, because reproductive health also applies to our LGBT community. So we want to have their voices heard as well. So that's going to be not only just going over, obviously, because it's Knights for Joe Biden's agenda on those issues, but we also do just want to have an informational discussion, more specifically on what some of those policies look like, on top of just the general issues related to women's rights issues in the United States.
Awesome. Yeah, so definitely hope to see you guys out at those events. We'll have sign-up links and some more information on our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So follow us at Dems UCF to stay up to date, and we'll have sign-up links and stuff like that coming out soon. Okay, and then in terms of like internship opportunities, as always, we have our fellowships with the Florida Democratic Party. If you're interested in working with them to get Joe Biden and down ballot Democrats elected in Orange or Seminole County, definitely reach out to us. We can help you out with that. Then we also have Patricia Sigmund's campaign reach out to us about field and finance internships. So Patricia Sigmund, if y'all don't know, is running for Florida Senate in right over the border in Seminole County. So if you live in like Northview or Northgate Lakes, Tivoli, anything like that, that's in Seminole County. So that would be your district. Finance internships is really awesome. We don't get stuff like that very often. So if you're interested in learning about campaign finance or anything like that, this is a great opportunity. They're like no experience required. They're definitely willing to teach. You can email your resume to Isabel. She's the finance coordinator, or that's her phone number if you have any questions. But that's a really great opportunity. So yeah, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about field or finance. And then Tracy Kagan's campaign, who is also another Seminole County candidate, they're hiring paid canvassers. So if you are interested, I will send that link. I'll have to find it. I can send it in the chat. But if you're interested in being a paid canvasser, definitely, let's see, DM us on Instagram or like send us a message in the Slack so I can make sure I get that link to you, because I'm realizing now you won't be able to click on it. But yeah, if you're interested in that, definitely get paid for your work. So if you're interested in canvassing, I'm sure they didn't say anything about COVID and like safety, but I'm sure that they've definitely thought that through. But if you have any questions, we can definitely get those answered for you. So paid canvassing opportunity. Okay, does anybody have any questions about any of these before I move on? Okay, if you're looking to get more involved in our organization, we would highly recommend that you apply to be a caucus chair. We recently appointed our Black caucus chair. That's going to be Jalen. He's here tonight, so we're super excited about that. But we do have 2 other caucuses from last year, Disability and Environmental Caucus, that don't yet have chairs. So we're definitely looking for students to fill those roles. Those are definitely caucuses that we want to keep alive. But also, if those 2 don't interest you, we are totally open to any caucuses. We have a bunch of our caucus chairs here tonight. We're going to be hearing from our LGBTQ plus and labor caucuses in a few minutes. But we're definitely looking for more caucus chairs. We're totally open to any like issue that you want to do a caucus on. Definitely let us know. And you can find that application here at this hyperlink, or QR code. So yeah, we're definitely hoping to see a few more applications in the coming weeks. Also, we do have a new board position that will be coming soon. We're still working out the kinks for that. But if you're interested in becoming part of our e-board, it's a little bit more of a time commitment than being caucus chair. But if you are interested in becoming part of our e-board, stay tuned for that. We're going to be having a new position coming out in probably in a few weeks. Okay, I'll hand this one off to Gabby.
Yeah, so if you have not already and you want to be a member, if you do want to be a caucus chair, you do have to be a member. If you want the e-board position, you also have to be a member. If you want to vote in the e-board election, you will have to be a member. Like we said last meeting, but if you weren't here, you can buy a shirt here. Also on the website, we have crew necks and sweaters, I guess. I don't know the difference between Joe. But they're really cool. I actually just got mine and it's really great quality and I love it. However, if you don't want a shirt and you just want to be a member for this semester, if you do buy something, you're a member for a year. But if you just want to be it for this semester, you can Venmo or Cash App us. And it's on the screen. So, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
And if you did pay your dues, like by buying a shirt at this link, that's awesome. Welcome to the club. It does take about 2 weeks. We got a couple questions about this. It takes about 2 weeks from the date that you ordered to get your shirt or whatever you ordered. So yeah, give it about 2 weeks. If you did order online, if you could in the chat, like just send Gabby a like private message with whatever full name you want on the roster, and then also your email, so we can get in contact with you. Those are not, we can't collect those from the website. So if you could send those over to Gabby, if you paid your dues by buying a shirt through that website. And like Gabby said, if you'd rather just pay for the semester, you can just Venmo or Cash App us, and that's for $15. So that's it. Does anybody have any questions about that? We got a few emails about it this weekend, so I want to make sure everybody's all set. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So now we're going to be hearing from our LGBTQ+ and labor caucuses and our special guest. Let me stop sharing for a second so I can switch it. And Carrie and Matthew, can everybody see this? Did I do it right? Are we all set? Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Carrie and Matthew, just let me know when you're like ready for me to move like through the slide.
All right.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Hi guys, I'm Carrie. I hope you guys are doing well and having a good fall semester so far. My pronouns are she, her. I am cis, I'm queer, and I am a co-chair of the LGBTQ+ caucus. I'm so excited to be here today to discuss such an important topic during such a significant time period. Matthew, who will introduce himself shortly, and I will be talking about Foxtail Coffee, a chain of well-known cafes around the Orlando area, and transphobia. Our discussion today will be about the LGBTQ+ community in the workforce and the many struggles and types of discrimination they face on the daily. But also, and more importantly, tonight will be about how the community is resilient and how they show resistance, which can take on many forms like protest or sit-ins. So Matthew will speak first about a brief timeline of relevant events and legislation regarding this topic, and I will hit on some eye-opening statistics that will then bring us to our guest speaker tonight, Jazz. Jazz, pronouns she, they, is a trans femme Puerto Rican who is a local to Winter Park and who also used to be an employee of Foxtail Coffee. So we are so excited to have her tonight, but first I'll give it off to Matthew to talk about some key events that have led us to where we are today. So Matthew.
Hi, I'm Matthew. I'm your Labor Caucus chair. Pronouns he, him. And Hannah, if you could switch to next slide. Thank you. I'm gonna just go over, brief historical precedents and just some history that lead up to now. Just, it's always good to know. So first one's the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which decided that you cannot discriminate based on sex, race, religion, country of origin, gender, or sexual orientation in the job place and just in general. This is a very alive law, and it's constantly being interpreted and extended through, more groups of people. But the big thing is, what does discrimination entail? Which we'll, be able to determine later on. But, big thing is whatever discourages someone from working somewhere, like a group of people, if it discourages them from working there, it does count as discrimination. So next we can go to the Gene Compton riots, or cafeteria riots, sorry. This was the first LGBT-related demonstration in American history. It started between a dispute between a police officer and a member of the transgender community and turned into a much bigger protest. The more well-known ones of these happened a few years later, the Stonewall riots, which was a grouping of demonstrations by members of the gay community that happened in response to police raids on the Stonewall Inn in 1969.
Not just the gay community.
Yeah, Stonewall Inn was a predominant gay meeting ground, for those who don't know. And we'll let Jazz explain the Fox Hill incident right after Carrie gets done with the statistics.
Perfect. Yep, you can scroll down to the next one. Awesome, thanks, Matthew. Okay, so you'll see that about 40% of LGBT workers are in industries that are at a heightened risk for COVID-19 infection. So this is like your restaurants, your food industries, hospitality, hospitals, healthcare centers, stuff like that. And this doesn't even take into account the amount of LGBT workers who may have been laid off or are at risk of being laid off due to the pandemic that we're currently still in. And then the next one in 5, so 20% of LGBT Americans face discrimination when applying to jobs. So this is applying to a job that you haven't even had yet. And before you could really even get to know them, before they can even get to know you, you are discriminated against. And these rates are even higher for the LGBT, Black, Indigenous, and people of color compared to LGBT white people. Okay, and so the next one is astonishing, but honestly not surprising. Over half of LGBT workers have heard insensitive and offensive jokes in the workplace, which according to the US Equal Employment Opportunity Commission is a form of harassment. So that was just really eye-opening to me. And so this is not on the slide, but something I wanted to point out was that many LGBT workers feel exhausted from disguising or downplaying their true and authentic selves and identities at work for fear of discrimination. And so lastly, the last statistic is 10% of LGBT workers have left a job due to an unaccepting work environment, which I think pertains to Jazz's case here. And one thing that I learned about a few weeks ago off Instagram, it's a profile called Eat Your Boss, and they made a post about how much CARES Act money Foxtail Coffee was funded.
Yeah.
And they were funded $2.35 million in CARES Act money during this pandemic. And you have to remember that CARES Act funding was meant for small businesses, and it was for the pay protection program. And so that is meant to retain jobs. So it's meant to retain your workers so you keep them on your payroll to keep paying them.
CARES Act is meant to help those most affected by the effects of COVID. And Foxhill took all that money and started opening up chains instead of paying their workers with it. So,
Yeah, so that was another key thing that really, I don't know, just really kind of ticked me off, I guess. So I guess my thing is to just be more mindful, be more aware, more conscious of these statistics, and that we must continue to work towards a more accepting, respectful, equitable, and just workplace, like school environment, everywhere for everybody. So I guess without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Jazz. She's going to tell us her story. Yeah, everybody, welcome Jazz.
Hi. How's it hanging? Oh my gosh, look at that. But yeah, y'all know my genders, she, they. I'm Jazz, Ms. Minty while in drag, Jazz Reyes while out of drag. it's an honor to be here today, just to be able to tell my story. Because throughout like me battling this with Foxtail and learning how to be more outgoing with how I present myself, I've gotten so much like support from especially like young people that are going through the same thing, you know, because as you said, a lot of us don't have a choice whether to like not work as an essential worker. Usually we're working like we're gig workers, we're sex workers, we support like our local food and hospitality industry, especially Black and brown queer folk. I feel like lots of times we forget about the intersectionality between those two, because yes, you can be queer and gay in the workplace, but once you start to stack up other things on top of that, it becomes a little more complicated, and it becomes less of a easy to reach for a conclusion of, oh, well, this is what was going on. Well, actually, there were lots of things that were going on at the same time. I feel like with my situation with Foxtail, what I found most wrong about what was going on specifically with their uniform policy, which is why I finally ended up leaving, was the fact that not that they had it, but that it was being used as a tool to kind of control a specific demographic of people. So when you have cis white employees who are often breaking dress code and not getting penalized as a result for it, and then you have trans individuals expressing their gender in their workplace, however that may take place, because you know, you don't just wake up one day and say, oh right, I'm trans, I need to adjust everything I'm wearing. Usually trans people have small things that they start with that help them kind of get in control of how they feel about their bodies. For me, it was the black cap, because my hair happens to be my biggest source of dysphoria. And black cap was an easy way. Nobody knew I was trans. They were just like, why are you wearing that hat? But I knew that it, you know, was that blanket for me. So it didn't matter if other people knew. Sorry, I got a little so emotional. But you know, it's been wonderful to see how the community has reacted to this as well, because I'm not the only one who's been protesting Foxtail. I came out with my story, and then suddenly everybody was coming out with their stories about working at Foxtail and experiencing this kind of like treatment from higher ups. And it wasn't just in individual cases anymore. It was, okay, we have a repeating problem here. Foxtail, to this day, does not have an HR department, even though they have well over 100 employees, and they have for a while now. They are not a small local company. They are they used to be owned by the 3 owners of AKT Enterprises. Now, one of them was put on leave due to the sexual assault allegations. But if you've been catching up with Eat Your Boss and their account, it looks like he's still making money and profiting off of this. But you know, when you're going somewhere with something and then you just start talking and it derails. Oh, we were talking about inclusivity in the workplace. So they're trying to play this part of, we're a small business and we're getting attacked by the public, when in reality, you're a big corporate business with a lot of money who's taking advantage of people in situations where they don't have a choice but to suck it up for the paycheck. They don't have a choice but to, you know, and I've spoken to a lot of people who, not just working at Foxhill, but working your like regular gig jobs at being a barista or being like counter worker somewhere, where you have to control the way you appear, you have to very much leave everything at the door, but then you're expected to suck it up for the paycheck. But if a company has the means to make work life more comfortable for their employees and more open and accepting in how their employees are treated in the workplace, I find that to be a lot more effective in terms of just having good customer service. Like if your employees are happy, your customer base is going to be happy as well. A lot of the people that you talk to that go to Foxhill, they're like, oh, well, what threw you off? It was the terrible customer service. Everybody was pissed off. Nobody was happy to serve me. I'm like, there's a reason why. Because they're getting screwed for their hours and they're not getting respected in their workplace. But yeah, I don't mean to go on and on. If you guys want me to stick to anything in particular, let me know.
Honestly, whatever you want to talk about, you're doing amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, period. So yeah, just whatever you're feeling, whatever you want to share with us.
Yeah,
I
just
thank
go
you.
say whatever you'd like.
Well, I guess we could go into the sequence of events that was the several protests that we had. So after I came out with my story and other people started coming out with their stories, we came together and we performed the first one of our Foxhill protests, which is, that's the one where we showed up with free coffee for people and like glitter signs that said like inclusivity in the workplace and stuff like that. After that one, no, that was the one where we did the sit-in. The first one was the one where all of the corporate people were sitting outside and we had kind of a standoff. Miss Barbara Chandler was there. I don't know if you guys know her. She's one of the Winter Park City Commissioner. She's head of the Hannibal Square Heritage Center. Her and I are actually, a little bit of a side note, but her, I, and the Winter Park Community Center have been working on this event that we're trying to bring to the area. We're calling it House Exchange. It's a community art collective where we can hopefully showcase the best of POC, like queer artistry in the area, because we know it's in it. We just don't necessarily have a place to blossom. Just, you know, gentrification things, getting pushed out of your spaces. But I very much, that woman has been backing me up throughout this whole thing, and I'm very grateful to her. But we had our first protest. I thought it went well. Everybody thought it went well. Apparently, Foxhill was very triggered because you could tell in their marketing, like all their social media game was on. They were blocking, deleting, restricting comments, and everybody's like, are you gonna address this? And all they did was backtrack to like previous posts, even though their shirts, they were using their shirts as a shield against this as well, because they were donating money to Zebra Coalition with the shirts until Zebra Coalition found out that all of this was happening, and then they ceased to collaborate with Foxhill because, quote unquote, it was dirty money. So the money that was made from those t-shirts went to a local LGBT fund for, it's money that goes to people that most need it. But Zebra Coalition did not take that money themselves. and they sat me down and talked to me about it because they wanted to make sure that I was okay with it. And I was fine with it. The artist came out against them because she was like, I didn't know they were using my art to basically like defend their actions against a community. You know, you're, as a queer artist, you see a big company taking advantage of your art, it's gonna piss you off. So she was there protesting with us as well. Come protest number 2, that's when we decide to have a sit-in. And I get heated about the sit-in because I think it was a very unfair situation. You know, you had a bunch of, like, I know we're all adults, but kids that like just want to see some change in their community. And like, we were all there. What I love about our protests, especially like queer protests, is you will never find like genuine anger in one unless it's about the actions that we're protesting against. Like, people are there to support each other as a community. We're not there to like cause a riot unless we need to. But you know, we're just there to uplift each other. And that's what that protest was. It was silent. There were people sitting inside with the signs. Rosie came out. She literally broke one of our signs, threw it on the ground, and was like, you guys can't be here, very Karen style. And I don't know if you guys know who Rosie is, but she is the sister-in-law to one of the owners. So she doesn't even have a position for the company. She's just a benefactor of it. So she was around when they founded it, and she's still seeing money off of it. I never saw that woman a day in my life. She never had anything to do with any of the happenings in the business. I didn't know why she was getting involved until she said that she was a lesbian. And then I realized why they sent out Rosie. It was because if they have a lesbian who's a part of their company, how can they be transphobic? Like, that just doesn't make sense. And I had to break it to Rosie that unfortunately 1 and 1 equals 2. So what the fuck was she doing in that equation? You know, there is a lot of, again, acknowledge your intersectionality. Yes, you are a lesbian, but you are also cisgender, you are white, you have a lot of money, you come from a background that has a lot of money. You can't relate to that day-to-day struggle of, where's my paycheck gonna come from? Am I allowed to express however I want to express in my workplace without getting fired? Am I gonna receive the same opportunities? I'm sure she's had to do it once, at least once in her life, but that it did not excuse the behavior. Again, she broke our sign, she threw it up on the floor, and she was like, I don't want to have to call the police. And I said, is that a threat? Because I need to write it down. Because once a white woman tells you that she's going to call the cops on you, you make sure that she meant what she said so you can get the fuck out of there. But she wouldn't give us a clear answer until somebody that was sitting inside actually heard her on the phone talking to the police, giving them my name. I heard, and everybody just told me to get out of there, so I did. The cops got there asking for me by name. Rosie was asking for me by name. They intended to put me in cuffs that day, which, you know, buy me dinner first at least. But yeah, 2 of my friends ended up getting arrested that day. They're out and they're fine now, but you know, if you're keeping track of our like place as a country right now, for 2 queer POC to be in the hands of police officers is a very risky position. even like potentially life-threatening. I like to this day give like thanks to God that nothing went down seriously to injure anybody that day, but just the potential of something going wrong that day still like really gets me heated. But we got out, they started blocking everybody on social media, so we couldn't even keep like a tab on them anymore, or what they were doing to own up to anything that they were doing. So we were like, it can't hurt to go again. So we did our third protest, and that was the one where we chalked up their sidewalk, because we did our research this time, and we were like, okay, what are our legal boundaries here? Where can we and can't we be? So sidewalk is public property, and chalk is permitted because it's gonna rain eventually. So we get there and we immediately just start like blasting music and like chalking up the sidewalk and having a fun, gay old time. Out comes Rosie, and she says, you can't do that, that's illegal. She had cops' cars sitting, like waiting on us to do something that she could call the cops on us for, but never happened. So I guess she had to like leave with blue balls that day, because she didn't get her like her just desserts. But she did splash a little bit of water on us, because she was telling us to clean it up. And you see, I had told her that it was gonna rain eventually, and she decided that she was gonna make it rain now. So she came out with a big gallon of water and just splashed it all over us while we were like chalking up the sidewalk. As she went inside, she was like, me, transphobic? I have a wife. And that moment really like chef's kissed it for me, where you are unable to like see the hurt that your actions are causing just because you want to appear a certain way to like a public image, or you don't want to be the transphobe, you don't want to be the racist. Well, Mary, your actions are what's transphobic and racist. And you know, I find that especially nowadays, like white people get so heated when you call out their actions, because they feel like somehow you're telling them that they're not a good person, or they're the scum of the earth, or like all we're saying and all we're trying to communicate is that there are other people that have to share this space with you. If you could be considerate to their existence, that would be wonderful. And we would thank you very much. It's not a personal attack, it's an opportunity to grow. And what are we allowing Foxtel to do now? We're allowing them to grow. And if they don't grow, there's other coffee shops. There are other coffee shops. But yeah, I think that catches us up to date as far as the whole Foxtel drama.
Wow, that is a lot. So we can open it up to questions if anybody has questions for Jazz. Just wanted to say thank you so much, Jazz. That was really detailed, and thank you so much just for sharing and feeling comfortable enough for sharing with us.
Thank you.
This very eloquently said out all of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll do questions just like discussion style. So just.
I had a question. Hi, I'm Zoe.
Zoe.
I'm Director of Political Affairs for the UCF Dems. My pronouns are she, her. Like Carrie and Matthew said, thank you for sharing. It's really important. We're really glad that you shared their story with us. I kind of have two questions. First one is, how are you doing? And then the second one is, how has this experience changed your perspective on working, or I guess more specifically, like how does it change what you look for when looking for jobs now?
Yeah. Well, to answer your first question, I'm doing fabulous. And to answer your second question, I'm in a position right now where I am fortunate and privileged enough to not have to pay rent right now. So I'm taking full advantage of that, in the sense that I find that there are some people in life that just, no matter how hard they try, they can't like swim to another person's beat. Or I do my own thing all the time, regardless of what anybody thinks, because it's the only way I know how to exist. So to anybody that doesn't know, I'm a drag queen. So I put a lot of time and labor into my drag. It's what really like fuels me and drives me. I think drag can bring people together, and that's all I really want to do with my life. I'm like as long as I did that, then I'm good. I'm good clocking out. But I also have my side cake business. It's Minty House, and I sell my sweet treats to anybody that wants to help out, and then I use that money to further my drag, and it just becomes a whole cycle where I don't know how to stop embellishing things. It's really addictive.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing.
I have a question. My name is Paula. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the secretary of College Dems. Thank you so much for coming. I know it's not easy to speak about this, so I really appreciate you coming. So now I have two questions. Originally, I only had one, which is, has Foxtail gotten back to you? And now the second question is, where can we support your drag, and where can we get treats from you? Can you if you have a username or a website or something, can you drop it in the chat later?
Yeah, of course. So first question, Foxtail never reached out to me in any form, way, shape. I think they're just trying to avoid this the best that they can. But props to you, I guess. You better pay that marketing team. But as far as supporting me, I have Instagram I use Instagram for both my drag and my cake business. If you want to support my drag, it's it's Miss_Minty_. And if you want to support my cake business, it's Minty House altogether. I can drop it here in the chat real quick.
I'm on your Instagram right now, and I just want to say this is amazing. I am, wow.
Thank you so much. I just dropped both of them in the chat, so you guys can check those out. I have 2 shows coming up. One's going to be on Wednesday. That's for Ransom House Drag Review. That's Robin Ransom. He's a fabulous drag king. He also happens to be my drag father. And we're putting together a lovely show for him on Wednesday. On Thursday, we're putting together a show for OBGYL. That's Oh Bitch Get Your Life, hosted by Miss V and Chlamydia Delavey. And they are both insanely talented and passionate Winter Park drag performers. I actually went to high school with them both at Winter Park High, and I was never confident enough to pursue what I wanted to pursue when I was their age, and to see them still be in high school and somehow making the most of it and just being themselves authentically to 100%. I'm all here for some Miss V and Chlamydia Delavey. So that show is going to be on Thursday. You'll see all of this on my social media. So I hope to see everybody there. Everybody works really hard on their drag, and all we really want is an audience. So if you guys could bless us with that, that would be awesome. Was there another question? Did I?
Hi, I'm Olivia. I have another question. My pronouns are she, her, and I also wanted to thank you for sharing this and saying that you're really inspiring. I have a younger brother who is gender nonconforming. So if people don't know who that is, he is male but presents as what society would say as a girl or female. And you remind me a lot of him in the way that you march to your own beat and don't really care. And sorry, my roommates. And what would your advice be for young kids like that and people growing up in this world who are LGBTQ plus or just feeling different?
Yeah, I could write a book about that. But I guess the most important advice I can give to people in a situation like me would be just don't. It's hard. It's so fucking hard not to be afraid. But the moment that you let go of holding everybody's expectations to such a high level, then once you stop doing this to everybody else's expectations of you, you take that bitch down, then suddenly you can start seeing your own expectations of who you want to be and who you see yourself as your reality, you know? Nobody's here to live your reality for you. You're the only one who can experience that. So why would you let other people try to stop you from that? That just seems like a waste of time to me. So I would tell your sibling to just go for it. Whatever you've been wanting to explore within yourself, whatever's been stopping you from it, work your hardest on tearing that down. And then suddenly nobody can stop you and you're like a bullet train, fucking zooming through the human experience. Yeah, I guess that's.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. We can take one more question if anybody has one. What's that?
I might have one.
Thank you so. Oh yeah, go ahead.
So for the shows on Wednesday and Thursday, are they in person or are they virtual?
Yeah.
Second question, sorry. Will there be another protest? If so, when?
Yeah, so the shows this week are going to be virtual. I'm working towards the possibility. I'm not gonna say anything construct just yet, solid just yet, but I'm working towards the possibility of possibly hosting my own local drag show sometime soon, titled High Tea, hosted by Miss Minty. So y'all might see that popping up on the socials whenever possible, whenever healthy for us to presume doing so. And then as far as Foxtail protests go, I think because you see, I'm also, I'm actively going through my transition as far as medically. So if anybody knows what it's like to go through that, there's a lots of bumps, hurdles along the way, and lots of internal work that you have to do as well. So I'm not personally in a position to lead Foxtail related protests right now, just because I'm trying to focus on everything else that I'm trying to accomplish. And I think my work with Foxtail has at least made an impact in how people see the way that businesses affect their locals, and how, like, you know, people in Winter Park, they're going to keep fighting for this, even if I keep doing my own thing, because I can't fight a company like Foxtail forever, because then that's going to drain the life out of me. Because imagine screaming at a wall and then expecting that wall to just not be a wall anymore. I have no time for that. So if other people want to continue protesting and fighting Foxtail, they have my 100% support, because until Foxtail changes, I believe it's going to be a big problem within our Winter Park community, because we keep allowing these big corporations to invade our spaces. Let's take into consideration that Winter Park is an extremely gentrified place. Like, if you've been to the Hannibal Square Heritage Center, you know of the like rich history that Black locals used to have here in Winter Park, and all the Black-owned businesses and all the houses and the schools that were here to serve those specific communities, now all gone and displaced. And it looks like just, it's very much for white people's comfort, unfortunately, at the expense of BIPOC. And I would like to see people continue to talk and have these conversations about what businesses and business practices like this affect their local communities. But yeah, I'm gonna keep doing my thing. I hope you do yours.
Awesome. Thanks, Jazz.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much to Jazz, and also to our LGBTQ+ and Labor Caucus chairs for putting on, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first caucus event, I think. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So yeah, we hope to have more in the future, but thank you guys so much for putting this together. That was awesome. So thank you again, Jazz, for sharing your story with us. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay.
Thank you again, Jazz. It's great having you.
First, thank you everybody.
Alrighty, so that concludes our meeting. On this final slide here, we have all the ways to stay in touch with us. Instagram is like top of the list, also Twitter, Facebook, you can always email us. And then this QR code is for our Slack channel. So if you'd like to join that, that's like our group messaging system. And I would like to take a group photo really quick. If everybody who is comfortable would turn their camera on. I'm gonna real quick take a group picture. Give everyone a couple seconds. All right. Alrighty, smile everybody. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to